Hi guys, I'm Collette.
I'm Candace.
And welcome back to Hey Cuz.
So Collette presented this topic. We want to talk about, tell us what we got today.
We're talking about siblings.
Ooh.
Tea. I'm the only child, so
Ain't that shady? She want to talk about siblings ain't got none. So you want to put me on the spot.
Yeah, I do.
For the longest time, on both sides of my family, we were the only family that had multiple kids in it. Huh?
Oh, well, yeah.
We're the only ones that had multiple kids. Everybody were only children.
Later down the road.
Yeah, they came way late. So like they're like an old other generation. They, you know.
Yeah.
Basically, we're the only family that have multiple kids in there. So you want to be
like
petty today?
What was that?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we could talk about family since you don't got no siblings and you try to call me out and call you out. You gotta do that. Turn on, okay? You tried it.
What?
You tried it.
We okay. Only here to make you uncomfortable. What happened?
That's fine. I'm gonna talk about it. I'm here to tell my story. You know.
This is about to be all types of
but honestly, if you want to go there, we grew up very close. All of us are siblings practically. We was on each other's face half the time anyway.
We did.
So we have extended siblings.
Sibling adjacent.
Sibling adjacent, whatever you want to call it. We were all together all the time growing up. So I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I don't think so. We weren't the warring sibling type. We weren't always at each other's throats or each other's faces, you know. I think growing up in New York City just kind of makes you that way. You just kind of like mind your business.
Yeah.
That's the way of the city. So it's like, you know, we weren't, I don't know. It wasn't, you know how you see on TV and stuff, they're all like annoying and in each other's faces all the time. It didn't feel that way. But at the end of the day, I was the youngest, so maybe I just didn't. I don't know. I don't think I was the annoying one though. I don't. But I am the queen of this sibling shit. Don't get it twisted. I'm kidding. But yeah. I don't think I was that annoying because I had you to distract me really because we were in the same class most of our lives. So that was probably good for them because they're like, I'll pawn you off on Collette. That's basically that's basically what happened.
Yeah.
Curtis is the only boy, so and he's the only boy in our family, really, on our mom's side. So I feel like he got away with a lot of stuff. He's real quiet, and it's always the quiet ones that
he gets missed.
Right? Curtis used to get away with a lot of stuff, and we used to get in trouble. They would say you're picking on him. And wasn't nobody picking on this man. Sorry to this man. No, I'm saying nobody was picking on this man. I don't understand. We used to get in trouble all the time.
Nobody was picking. It was like nobody messed with him. Nobody upset him. Nobody did anything to bother him.
It was really a lot. It was a lot. I don't get it. My older sister was minding her business. She was grown. She didn't want nothing to do with us. She was reading her books and writing in her diary. Okay, that was it. She wasn't coming outside. She wasn't about to play. She wasn't riding her bike. She wasn't going swimming. She wasn't getting her hair wet. I just feel like we were all just in our own world. Like I said, my older sister, she thought she was too school for cool. She was hanging out with her friends and minding her business. She didn't like to be outside. So, you know, she liked to read books. And that was that. My brother, he's the only boy. So, you know, they will deny the preferential treatment. But we all know what the vibes was. If you're the only boy in a family full of women, come on. Like, come on. And there's me. I'm the youngest, but I wasn't like annoying or anything. I was kind of just like minding my own business in my own little world. We just kind of did our own thing for the most part, I feel.
Yeah. But it's just the age difference too, like.
But we're not that far apart.
We're not, but I guess in terms of, I mean, Curtis is right You know, he's 1 year older than me, but in terms of him being a boy, obviously he's not going to want to do things that we're doing.
Yeah. So really, for the most part, it was you and I.
And then Karis is older, so then there's a little bit of an age gap.
Karis is only 4 years older. We're each 2 years apart, and then if you throw in the siblings, we're all kind of like a year apart. We're all very close in age, so it wasn't anything crazy to where we're like, oh, stop touching me, stop touching me. You know, and then I just feel like growing up in Brooklyn, like you just can't be that way. Like that's annoying. And it's not cool. So we used to play fight, but that was planned. It's like, oh, let's play slaps. And I was thinking that the other day, I was telling my friends, I was like, why do we decide that we just want to hit each other? Like you just wake up and you just I guess that's to release subconsciously. You have like to release the tension, but it's like, let's play slaps. And like, what were we doing? I don't understand. But yeah, and then that might turn to a fight that lasts forever, and you wake up in the middle of the night. It's fun. Growing up with siblings. So the question that you said, and I think it doesn't necessarily apply just to siblings, but to family in general. And that's why I kind of want to switch it up because, you know, our family is big, it's large. A lot of extended family members. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people. Very common for Caribbean families. We're not going to go into detail there. Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
I'm not going to
because every holiday
touch it at all, but yes.
Me and my cousin, we like to get our mothers to acknowledge their daddy issues. But that's neither here nor there. So we have a large family, as most Caribbean people do. As I was saying, you know, the logistics, we get it. No need to go into detail over it. There's a lot of people in our family. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's just like with any situation, like school, work, families, whatever. You're not going to mesh with everyone.
Right.
It's just impossible. I don't think I have any people in my family who I want to smoke with per se. If y'all want to smoke with me, let me know. But I mean, if that's how you feel, come to the table. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Cousin to cousin, let's do it. But I can't think of anyone that I'm really like, yeah, no, not for me, not showing up, not inviting them to the barbecue. Thankfully, I feel like every family has their secrets. Every family has their skeletons in the closet. I don't know of any crazy ones. Thankfully, I never had any like traumatic experiences with anyone. But yeah, this might be a piece of some people that you just don't mess with, or maybe they said something in a tone that wasn't, appreciated. So you said, what was it you said? Does it like kind of like, is there loyalty just because you're family?
Yeah.
It has been my observation.
Because like I know people that have siblings that they don't speak like at all. Right. And I never understood it because it's not something I saw.
Right.
Even with you guys, like y'all don't go like, oh, I'm not talking to this person. Like that's not something I've seen.
Yeah, it's never been that bad, thankfully. I mean, there's times where I'm just like, I mean, we had to go through it. We had to have the tough conversations. We've been there. I've done my work. I've been in therapy. I've had to have conversations with my siblings. My sister, recently I had a good conversation with her. And that's the thing with siblings. When you're in a family with siblings, they like to compare you. Comparison is going to happen. And do you feed into that? Or do you stand up and say, hey, I'm me, she's her, he's him. Treat us individually, treat us accordingly. That's the issue with being a sibling. And that's the source of contention oftentimes. And does that sibling take up for you? Are they in their corner? Do they have your back? And sometimes they don't know. I mean, especially as kids or young adults, you don't always know. So that's on you to, be strong and mindful enough to say, hey, I didn't appreciate this, or this is why I am the way I am. I stepped back a little bit because this is what happened. And that definitely happened. You know, that happened with all of us. They compared all of us, not just the sibling, the cousins. They compared all of us. Why don't you do this like Candace? Why don't you do that like Paris? Why don't you do this like Collette? Why can't you do da? It was constant. It was constant. So that is generally the source of contention that we experience. And thankfully, we were able to rise above it for the most part. Are we close and in each other's spaces and up under each other's skin? Absolutely not. Never been that way. Don't think it'll ever be that way. But you know, we get along. We're very different. We're all very different. Like, you could not, like, you know, on TV, at least you have two siblings who are like, oh, yay, we're going to tea, we're going to do our nails, and we see each other, we go on sister days. Like, no, that has not been us. Everybody sees that. People say, oh, y'all are so close, y'all are so cute. I'm like, we're not that, we're not that close. We're cool. I ain't got no problems with her. I ain't got no problems with him. They cool. They my siblings. But we're just very different people. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. And that's something that needs to be taken note of in families. Like, they just want to treat you all the same. Like, no, we're all very different. Very different. So people expect me to behave like my brother and sister are both more quiet and reserved. I'm not, clearly, you can tell. So it confuses people. I'm very different. I think they're more similar. They look more similar and they behave more similar. I look different from them and I act different. I always have. So clearly I've always been the one that stuck out. Most people usually think I'm the oldest. That's the thing. Probably because I'm just more vocal, but I don't know. I don't have no problems with them. Somebody said this the other day. One of my coworkers said this the other day. She said, how did she say? Just because you're related doesn't mean you're family. She said there's a difference. And I thought that was very profound. So that's something I wanted to talk about. Just because you're related doesn't mean you're family. There's a difference between being related and a difference between being family. Mm-hmm. And I agree, because you can choose your family. There are people who they've been kicked out of their families, or they have trauma with their family, all sorts of things, and they leave and they make friends, and that's their family. There's some people, and they have no problem with that. And there's some people who struggle with that. I've definitely had struggles with that, like, because people are like, why don't you just say forget them and move on? But I don't know. For me, I just feel like, why not? I just feel like that you could have, if you can have better, you should try to have better. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion on it. There's no reason for me to hate my brother or hate my sister. So why not just sit down and talk to them and tell them X, Y, Z, this is why I feel this type of way. This is what happened. It made me feel this way. Why not? It's not going to kill me to do that. Now, if they choose not to listen and they choose something, negative, well, then that's for me to make up my mind and say, hey, I'm going to keep you over there. I hope you don't die anytime soon. I hope you don't die a tragic death, but you're going to stay over there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do definitely, there's people, I'm like, yeah, we're related. I used to say that. I'm like, we're related. I've been there too. We've had our problems, like I said. I'm like, yeah, I'm related to them. So there's times when people, they would treat me like complete trash until they realized that I was related to my family. That's unacceptable. But it's happened. So that was a point where I was like, okay, we're related. We're not family, because you're not necessarily taking up for me either. You're not going to bat for me. You're not telling these people, hey, she's cool. She's cool people. Like, that's all you got to say. But you're letting them drag me. So that's the thing where I'm like, okay, there's a lack of loyalty. That's how I felt.
And they knew that people were saying that?
People, for a while, there were a lot of people who didn't expect much of me. They expected the worst out of me. They thought I was just like this bad person.
I'm saying, did they know? You talking about your sibling?
Yeah.
They knew that people.
They know. People knew. They knew. But certain things were more important. Subconsciously or consciously, I don't know. But being that shining light was important, more important to, of course, humans are inherently narcissistic. I say it all the time. So that's fine. Of course, it would be more important for you to shine and do what you're doing than to care what these people think about me. Of course, it's more important to you to be popular, to be friendly, and for everybody to know that you're just a friendly person than to care what people think about your younger sister. But it doesn't make it right. People always see the after effect. They see the attitude, but they don't know what led to the attitude. And that's the problem with families, that they don't dig deep enough. They just want to say, oh, you got a nasty attitude, but never want to figure out why. Mm-hmm. But that's the problem with mental health in general. Especially now. You see the after effects, but never try to figure out why or what's going on. So, yeah, I do agree that there are people who you are related to, and they're not necessarily your family. Like I said, we have a lot of relatives. And I don't have no problem with it. But it's like, I don't know them like that. There's some of them, I don't know them. That I'm like, our family's very scattered. We have people in the islands, we have people in New York, we have people in Florida, we have people all over the place. So yeah.
I always found it interesting though, perspectives. Like, I love to pull you guys all apart and talk about your relationship.
I know.
It's a completely different story, I swear. You speak to her sister, you get a completely different story. You speak to her brother, it's a completely different story. And to all three of them, it's all truth. That is their version of the truth that they believe.
That's life. That's with anything.
And
there's this side, and then there's the truth. That's what people always say.
Yeah. So it's always fascinating. Like, siblings have always been fascinating to me. And sibling adjacent, I really did grow up with them. Like, I was at their house every other day, if not every day. So, right. You might as well just make me an honorary St. John. But anyways, yeah, I mean, the same thing, the comparison and all that. From my end of it, it was even after you guys left and like moved to Georgia, while I was still living in New York with most of our relatives, because most of them, for the most part, were still in New York at the time. So they all started flocking down south. But anyways, it would be like, I'll hear like the phone calls, like, oh, so-and-so is coming up. It'd be like, Candace is coming up. We invited her up and all that. And I'm there, like a train right away. Nobody's calling me to come visit. I ain't getting those phone calls until Candace coming up. And then it's Candace asking me, oh, are you going to so-and-so's house? And I'm like, no, they didn't ask me to come up there. So I mean, I know you said you don't have any beef or nothing like that. I don't either, but I honestly choose not to see certain people just because we don't talk.
I've heard that story many a time, and that has happened to me as well. The same thing has happened to me as well. Yeah, because our parents, they're always like, oh, why you don't call so-and-so? You don't call so-and-so? I'm like, they don't call me either. So they have my number. It's life. Like, people have lives. It's okay. We don't have to. I mean, I don't know. Every family's different. Every family operates different. We have never been that family where we need to be on the phone with each other every day. And I'm telling you all my business. You tell me all my business. I think sometimes, maybe it's because I'm not used to it. When I see families that are that close, I'm just like, y'all close. Like, y'all mad close. Like, it's a lot. It's, I don't know. Maybe I'm dysfunctional. But I'm just like, that don't seem right. It's just sometimes it can be too much. Like, sometimes I've had friends, they have siblings, and I'm like, you can't go out, especially when there's an age gap. Like us, we're not that far apart. So if we all show up to an event, it's no problem. Like, we're not that far apart. But if it's like a gap, I'm like, you can't come without them. Like, you got to bring your little sister, or you got to bring, like, you can't go nowhere without them. It's not abnormal for me to go places without my siblings, or them to go places without me. Even though we know a lot of the same people, we're not that far apart. But my dad was like, you're not going to bring Karis, you're not going to bring Karis. I'm like, Karis and Karis ain't thinking about me either. You think they not taking me nowhere? They be leaving me at home. Why am I taking them where I'm going? No. And like I said, we're all different. We all like different things. We're into different stuff. We don't need to be up under each other all day, every day. I think that's weird. Maybe that's just because how we grew up. And we did grow up close. So I'm not saying that we did grow up very close, all of us, like especially you and our oldest cousin.
Yeah.
And that's why I always talk to my sister, because I'm like, she's like, well, I was older. But I was like, no, there's someone older, right? And she didn't treat us that way. So I always I'm like, there was no excuse for that.
But we also got to hear her side.
Absolutely.
And if you can, based on her head, it wasn't like a malicious thing.
No, and I
That's the
told
crazy
you, like,
part, is,
I don't think
everyone's
it is.
truth, and then it
I
comes.
didn't say it was malicious. It
No,
just is
I'm
what it
saying,
is.
yeah, the perspectives is crazy.
But with the age thing, that excuse, I was like, no, that's invalid because you're not the oldest. And the oldest used to hang out with us and take us to the park and do this, that, the third. You just like to stay inside, and that's okay. It's fine. But it's just like, no, that age that's not the reason. That's all I'm saying. That was not the reason.
Right.
It's okay. In my opinion, I just feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a result of how we grew up, and we grew apart a little bit, because you get older, you get to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, eventually, I really wanted to get to know myself. I just became associated with a name, with my family name. Like, they're like, oh, there go them. That's them. It's like a group. It's a
the St. John's.
like I just don't want to be associated with a group. Like, there's people who, it's like, you don't even know my name. And even when my sister moved, they're like, oh, where's Karis? Where's Karis? I'm like, do you even know my name? You have her number, you call her. Stop asking me. You don't care about me, and I'm right here in your face. So yeah, there's stuff about being a sibling that gets annoying. Mm-hmm. Like that. Like, you always asking for my sibling, and ask them. Because you just assume that we just up under each other, and we're not. So if you really care, you just ask them.
But do you get mad at the sibling for other people's behavior?
No, but I tell them, like, so-and-so looking for you. All these people looking for you. I don't know what to say. That didn't make me uncomfortable. That's not what I got mad about. There's other things that I've gotten upset about. Mm. It's the loyalty for me, or the lack thereof, that I perceived, my perception of the lack. Let me be completely impeccable with these words, okay?
That's right.
Okay, girl. You go see the work.
That's right, girl.
My perception, okay, of what was occurring at the time, okay.
Listen, y'all gotta clap it if you can, as y'all don't understand that growth right there. Give it up.
This is what happens when you do the work. I've been trying to tell y'all, this is what happens when you do the work. Okay. My perception of what happened at the time was that there was a lack of loyalty to the family. So that's what people want to say, that you have relatives in the family. We're a family unit, right? So the assumption is, which you shouldn't assume, that we should be close. We should be the first core, the first people that you check in with, the first people that you trust and look out for. Family over everything. However, that can become toxic. And I don't know if we should address that in this episode. Maybe we should. I feel like, especially in the Black community, that family over everything, where people feel entitled to what you have because they're family, that's toxic. Mm. And if that's what you're going through, I need you to understand that's not healthy. Just because you're related to someone, that's why my coworker says the difference between related to someone and big family. Just because you're related to someone, you don't owe them anything. It's toxic. That always bothers me when people come, they're like, oh, my sister, she wanted this and this. She feels like I should do this because I'm her. No, you don't. It hurts. It's hard. But sometimes you have to put up those boundaries and say no. No. I didn't birth those kids. I didn't buy that house that you can afford to pay mortgage on. I didn't do it.
That's facts.
Like, they see the things that you
do want to help, it has to be
absolutely. But
your heart.
If I feel like, it's human nature. So I'm like, if I feel like you deserve it for one, if we have that type of relationship, sure. But if it's like, nah, we've been dissing this whole time, you treat me like crap my whole life. Now you see I'm doing well for myself. You want to ask me for something? No, I don't owe you a thing. Or even if we are on good terms, I still don't owe you a thing. It's the entitlement that's the problem. Like they feel like you just cannot say no. Mm-hmm. That's unacceptable. Or if you just, like, some people, they find cousins. Like I told you, we got a lot of family. cousins.
Oh yeah, these pop-up relatives that we've never met to this day, all of a sudden calling and asking for this, that, and the third, money, handouts, I'm suffering and my kids can't eat and da da da. I'm gonna let you know right now, if you're watching this episode, that ends with my parents, because don't call me.
It's just weird. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. Because I hate it for you. I do. But I had a professor in nursing school, and this was her motto, and it has become my motto, and I love it. We put it on a t-shirt. It don't matter what was going, those students will be crying, begging, pleading for a retest or whatever, extra points, bonus. Let me do a project, begging on the floor, crying. And she would just look at them and say, that was a personal choice.
What?
She did not care. She'd be like, I had to work last night. I couldn't do this. That was a personal choice. I missed class because that was a personal choice. And she's right. It's harsh. That was harsh. She was rough, but it's the truth. Everything's a personal choice.
It is.
Thankfully, that's not my experience, but I've seen it a lot. And I see how sometimes these sibling relationships, especially sibling relationships, they can become very unhealthy. They can. Thankfully, that's not my experience. My brother and sister do well for themselves enough. Now, my brother has never been incarcerated or have a million kids everywhere, to my knowledge.
Don't do my cousin like that. He don't got no. I'm talking about. You see what I'm talking about? She was doing so well. What happened? You ain't gonna do my cousin like that, okay?
Yes. You know I'm a comedian. He's a good person. Curtis is a good person. I say that all the time. And I use that word very specifically. He is good. There are very few people. I say that all the time. There are very few people on this earth that are just good. Is he quiet and sneaky sometimes? Maybe. Especially as children. Sneaky. He's good. He has a good heart. He's good.
Listen, yeah, I want to know the interesting about Candace and Curtis. You gotta watch them. See, just don't intervene. Just watch them, okay? They will fight. Okay, I witnessed them physically fight each other growing up. And
physically,
yet,
verbally.
The next day, it's like nothing happened, and they just best buddies. Hang out, go to the club or whatever. He'll buy her gifts for her birthday. She'll buy him something. It's just an interesting dynamic where it's like, that's siblings. Like that's what I do as sibling relationship. It's like, we can bait each other's necks, but at the end of the day, I got you, you got me. And that's what
that's how it should be. I feel like you don't need to be all up in each other's face all the time. But that's, I'm not gonna let nothing bad happen to you. You're not gonna let nothing bad happen to me at the end of the day. We can disagree on things respectfully, as the kids say. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, especially with us, I know siblings and they're just like, it could be the same person for all I know. They're that similar. They like the same stuff. They look the same. They do the same things. They have the same mannerisms. I know people like that. I know families like that. And it could be 6 to them and they're all the same person. And then there's the opposite. I think we're the opposite. There's only 3 of us. And we're just all very different. Like, we couldn't be more different. Yeah. We have some similarities, but we are very different people. So we are going to disagree about stuff. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be nasty. I can't say I've ever had like all out, like for real, like I'm not messing with you. Yeah. Period. That has never happened. Never. I mean, that one time. But we
I was gonna say that. I was waiting for it. I was like, she ain't gonna let this up. But it's okay. It's okay.
We're not gonna talk about it.
We're not.
That's what therapy's for. But I never have been like, I don't know what she's doing. nor do I care. Or I don't know what he's doing. He could be dead for all I know. I don't care. That's never happened. As much as we disagree or whatever, yes, that's never been that way. Have we had issues? Absolutely. Like I said, I've had to have some uncomfortable conversations. And we did that. You were there one time. I came down there and it got a little uncomfortable.
But there was healing there too. It was beautiful.
Healing. There is healing in transparency. I say that all the time. It's on my book, so quote me at me. Don't do that. Quote me, please. There's healing in transparency. There absolutely is. You have to tell the truth. Lies kill, truth heals. That is also in my book.
You want to throw out that title real quick, Candace, when you can get the book?
Both of my books are available on Amazon.com. No, for real though. I think that's one thing that's missing from families. And there's still more conversations that need to be had. And it takes time. And I also have been frustrated that I had to be the one to start the conversation. And I'm like, I'm the youngest in our whole family. And so that was frustrating for me, but I had to get over it. My therapist was like, get over it. Because, either you want to heal or move on or you don't. But it seems like you are stressed. So if you need to have this conversation, you need to have it. You can't be pissed off that they don't want to talk to you. You need to start the conversation. They live in their best lives, not knowing that you just mad. Mm-hmm. So, I wasn't mad, but there were some uncomfortable conversations that need to be had. And that's with any family. And I think y'all need to start having them conversations. If you feel like you have the strength and the voice and the words to do it, do it. There needs to be healing in these families. And that's how we have healing in our communities. It starts with the family unit. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I have had many a conversation with the people. I love to, and that's why I love the holidays too. We did our holiday episode recently. I love the holidays because our family likes to bring up stuff. I just love to talk. I just love to stir pot, a little season in it. You know me. Love it. Love it. I love it. Because that's how we grow and evolve. And of course, I do it in a joking way because that's how you ease into it. But it's necessary. These conversations are necessary, especially we're grown now, we're adults. You can kind of, we had that episode already where they see us as kids, they don't necessarily respect us as adults, but we are adults at the end of the day, and we can, and put our opinion, and as long as it's done respectfully, you can kind of shift the culture in your own family. You can start changing some of these relatives into family members, because that's what they're supposed to be.
If they're willing to, because you can't fix it.
If they're willing to. But you can be the catalyst for that. I had to be the catalyst for that. I had to be the catalyst for change because I was stressed out. Something needed to happen. That's just the truth. So yeah, have I sat down in a therapy office with my parents for 3 hours? Absolutely. And am I exaggerating that it was 3 hours? Absolutely not.
Listen,
we were in there.
Who knows?
Look, do the work, people. Do the work. I know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And chances are it won't need to be 3 hours if you start now. Start now. Don't wait. Don't wait so long. It won't need to be 3 hours long. But it had to be done. Have I sat down with my brother and sister? Absolutely. I sat down with a cousin. I got all of us on the FaceTime one time. I have done this, guys. I've done it. You got to do it. You got to have, I've told one of my other cousins, they fight like cats and dogs. I'm like, come on. Once upon a time, I thought it was the little one. It's the older one. I'm like, mind your business. Leave him alone. Sometimes you just have to be that person that just causes the change. There needs to start to be peace in these households, joy in these households. Somebody has to do it. It's uncomfortable. It is hard. Like I said, we sat down with my sister multiple times and had conversations because we're both sitting here thinking one thing. Like Collette said, I feel one way, she feel another way. It's both the truth, but at the end of the day, what's the real issue? Mm-hmm. And really, the real issue had nothing to do with either one of us. Mm-hmm. We let people interfere. We let people name me, we let people name her, and maybe we both started to believe it. But that's why the conversations are necessary. You never go fix anything unless you figure out what the root of the issue is. Anytime I'm talking to one of my friends, I'll be like, why? And I'm like, why? But why? Ask why at least 5 times. Because you're not getting the real answer on the first why. Ask it at least 5 times, and then you're gonna get your real answer. And that's just what I do. And I'm doing the same thing with my family. We had to do it. It was awkward.
It was good.
There were tears shed. It was uncomfortable.
But don't you feel better?
You were there?
I know. I helped push the conversation.
And that's what we talking about with siblings. That's what's going down with the sibling situation.
You gotta do it.
It ain't easy.
You hear it and you know, hey, I'm hearing this thing here, I'm hearing that thing here. I don't think they're catching up that, you know, they really don't, they're not at war with each other. Then, you know, you bring them.
Generally, you're not, and that's the thing. Like with people who got problems, especially family, generally you're not at war with each other. If you dig deep enough, you'll find a common denominator. You will. There were many, but we hashed it out and move on. Are we ever going to be one of those TV families? Hell no. Do I want to be? Hell no. That's just not us. And I'm okay with that. We have a little bit of dysfunction. I think that's normal. It's light dysfunction. It's cute dysfunction. It's funny dysfunction. It's not like we scrapping at the barbecue dysfunction. Thankfully, that's never been our experience. People make it that way. They try to make it that big, and some things ain't that big. Mm-hmm. And I feel like our generation, and I had this conversation with my aunt. I was like, are you mad that we have the confidence to say the truth, to question things? She's like, I'm not mad, I'm proud of you. I'm like, great. So I feel like we can be the example. Because like I said, I don't know what the skeletons are. Well, are there skeletons? I'm sure. I don't know.
I grew up hearing about other families and all that stuff.
Some people know their skeletons. Some people know. I'm not familiar with anything crazy, you know? But I feel like us doing the work, mm-hmm. we can be the example. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. If they're watching us, they are. They are. So we keep at it. Maybe that might cause them to want to start having the conversations. But it's the same thing, like you said, you see us growing up, we're beating each other upside the head, and the next day we walk to school and it happened. I mean, but the same thing happened with them. You see our moms bicker and this, the next day they go into the store shopping. They're shopping all day till the sun goes down. Yeah. I guess it's just part of the experience. I don't know. I can only speak from my experience.
I don't know. I think y'all have a better. Well, let me not go there.
It could be worse. It could be better. It could be worse. But I don't think it's bad. And I think that's fine. I think that's the perfect way to sum it up. It could be better. It most definitely could be worse, but it's not bad. They're my siblings. What are you gonna do? You don't choose your family. But if you need to, you could choose your family. I think it's the moral of the story, right? You get who you get. And if it's not horrible, you do what you can with what you got. Mm-hmm. I say that every day. I show up to work. They're like, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing the best with what I got. That's all I can do. I think like that's what I'm trying to do. Even with my family, I'm trying to do the best with what we got. Because there have been moments I'm like, can we do better? Absolutely. And if I have to be the one to start that, so be it.
Candace over here trying to convert people one day.
It's Candace, fix your life over here. Okay.
I let her do it because
move over, Ayanla. Okay.
I just watch. I just get my popcorn out and I watch.
I mean, I just feel like that's what I'm here for. I honestly do. I feel like that's what I've been put on this earth for. I've always been this way. But of course, when you're a kid, you don't get it. But now that I'm older, I'm like, there are trends. I'm the one that's gonna say, hey, you know what? Other people, they're not gonna do it. And that's not their fault. It's not a problem. But it still needs to be done. So if I have to show up to Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, 4th of July, I'm like, hey, quick question.
Let me know how that turns out.
And then we could go back to eating our burgers and it's fine. But look, we all know we've been to some people's houses and you sitting in there and you could cut the tension with a knife. You know, these people hate each other. And if we weren't here, they probably gonna be fisticuffs. I know people, they say like you can't invite certain people to barbecue. It's gonna be a fight. And these are not friends, strangers, family, friends. These are family beating each other up. Like my coworker, the same one that said is there between relatives and family. She said, you know, I have a cousin that if I saw her on the street, it's on site. If you all know what that means, you know what it means. It's on site. And I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. But it's the truth. I mean, it's the truth. It just is what it is. And I can't take that truth away from her.
Right.
Thankfully, it's nothing that bad that I've experienced personally. Like, I've ever wanted to just like catch one of my siblings in these streets outside. Not that badly. Like I said, I feel like as kids, subconsciously, we just got it out. We're like, hey, who wants to play slaps? And you just get it out. And that's it. And you move on. But like for real, have I really wanted to just like drag one of them? No. Thankfully, that has not been my experience. Have I ever cut any of them off? No. Have they ever cut me off? No. If something happened to them, I will be there. I will catch a flight. If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far. Ain't no mountain high. We need to have a soundtrack.
Go for it.
Yeah, I feel like that's what family should be anyway.
It should.
I'm pro-family, not pro-relative. I understand completely what she was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I have felt that way at times in my life. I have felt like a relative. Just because I feel like I'm just very different from a lot of people in my family. And that's okay. But I'm pro-family unit. And I feel like if there's a chance for healing, I mean, any day above ground is a day for healing, really. It's not as easy said than done, but any day above ground is a chance for healing, you know? So if y'all out there and you see that you're surrounded by relatives and not family, I encourage you to just, take the little steps. You take little steps, other people will start to take little steps. I'm just pro-healing. That's just me.
Candace over here want everyone to be happy and kumbaya at the next
Why
Christmas
not?
party.
If you had caught me 5-10 years ago, it would have been a totally different story. Totally different story. So that just shows you that any day above ground is a day for you. Because this conversation would have been completely different. Okay. Facts. Any family members that you want to drag?
Any family members?
Yeah, you just want to catch outside on site? Boom. What's up? You ever had that experience?
No.
I
had to think for a second. I really did. No. I mean, are there some that I will not go out of my way to call? Yeah, there's several. But will I ignore the phone call if it comes through? No.
That's fair.
If my friend is like, hey, so-and-so is having a thing, do you think you can make this flight out there? I might say, no. Or I might say, who all's coming? Like I gotta.
Who all over there? That's my favorite thing to say.
Like Do I have at least one person that can be like, okay, I can vibe with that one person?
Look, it don't matter. Friends, family. I need to know the guest list. Who all over there? People who know me know that's the first thing. Who's coming? I need to know.
Yeah,
my sanity
it's just about boundaries, you know, like our family, there's some that are still in that state of, you know, whatever comes to my mind, I gotta say out my mouth. I'm at the part of my life where, you know, you're not gonna just comment on me if you haven't seen me in 5-10 years just because
you could say whatever you want to say. You can say whatever you want to say.
I'm not
just be prepared, right? Be prepared.
See, Kika's coming back with it. She's like, oh,
I respond, okay?
Ready to respond. Me, I feel like I'm not going out my way to pay money to get on a flight to come in your space for you to.
Won't fly to be judged by any means. But if I'm there and you decide that you have commentary, it's gonna be a dialogue. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That's it. I don't see a problem.
I'm just, you know.
But it's also not a surprise because they know me. I have been the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Like, I have not changed my whole life. So they know Candace going to have something to say. I think they do it for fun. Like, they just want to see what I'm going to say. There are some that I feel like they just want to see. Because they know I'm not just going to sit there. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I pick and choose which relatives I go and visit. I ain't gonna lie, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
That's fair. Everybody doesn't deserve to be in their space.
I rotate. Like 3 or 4 people I care to hang out with, and the others just like, I see you. You know, whether it's a wedding or a funeral, I'm gonna see you.
It is sad though. It is sad because that really is the only time that some families come together. And it is sometimes that they gonna drag each other there too. And I just am grateful that that is not my experience. It has never been that bad to my knowledge. I've never seen it, but it happens. I just feel like it should be better. Like there should just be better. Like it should not be only during, like you said, a wedding or a funeral where families come together. And I get it if you live in separate.
I just like how you're going and doing the work and trying to like get people together and like trying to like get the dialogue going. For me, that is very energy exhausting. Like I'm not at the place where I care to be putting all this energy into that.
I mean, I'm not doing that with everybody.
That's all I care about.
I'm not doing that with everybody, but at least the people who are immediately, you know, attached to me, my immediate family
in your area.
It is. I mean, for my piece, it's not about them. It's not about. It's no cost versus benefit, really. I do have to go through this stress, but I'm stressed anyway. If you think about it that way, my soul is uneasy, regardless.
So I said it's bothersome to you, so you're like, okay, I got to do this. To me, it's not bothersome.
Yes, so I have to go through this temporary period of stress in order to become at peace, and then I gotta do what I gotta do. So how does it feel to be a sibling? You know, it's cool. It is what it is. I just it's just interesting because we're just, like I said, people always see the family unit and that's it, and what people see is not what is, and that's always been the weird thing for me. And of course, growing up as a kid, you don't really have many choices. So you just kind of have to go along with it. But as you get older, you're like, I'm kind of tired of this. Like pretending. Like everyone just assumes that we're just so close and we're playing Scrabble every Friday night and we're all, you know, going out and having sister dates and brother-sister lunches and going to the movies and playing bowling with each other. Like, no, it's not real. Not for me. Anyway, it's not real. I like them and appreciate them for who they are. Love them. They're my siblings. I will do anything for them. If anybody tries something, I want all the smoke. Okay, it's fine. But it's like We not up under each other. We never have been. It just is what it is. But we are related. We are family. Stop comparing us. If you want to talk about being a sibling, let us be ourselves, our individual selves. Stop comparing us. Stop expecting me to be like my sister. Because Curtis, I feel like Curtis is lucky because he's the only boy, so he gets to be himself. They say middle child syndrome, but I feel like because he is a boy, he kind of escaped that because he's his own person. But for some reason, they just wanted me and my sister to be twins, and we're just not. And I think it's even worse because we are polar opposites. I think that was just very difficult for people to comprehend. We could not be the more different. We are so different. I can't even put it into words. We are just very complete opposite. And people just want us so badly to be the same person, and we're not. And that was a big source of problems for us. I think that was the greatest source of issues for us. So it's great to be a sibling because you have people in your corner or whatever, but it sucks sometimes because you just can't be you. And that's the sucky part. You're always associated with someone else. And then there's the expectations that come along with that.
Do you think it was worse because we all went to like the same schools, the churches, like all of our space
it was a lot. It's like a microcosm of people.
Yeah, I feel like when you started branching out, and then Karis is in college and Curtis is in a different school, you were there. Like then it was my own person. Have my own friends.
You have air. It's suffocating. It's very suffocating being in that closed off environment and just being watched by people and being constantly being compared to people. Yeah, that absolutely made it worse. Period. It's all your fault. And I mean that from the depths of my spirit and soul. Stop comparing people. It's not cute. It's not. It causes a lot of problems. Like you don't even realize how much problems that causes.
I'm comparison that we weren't, I don't know, so wrapped up in it that we started to hate each other.
Yeah, because it easily could have happened.
Who the common enemy was.
And that's what I keep saying, like we easily, all of us, even cousins included, we all could have just hated each other. We really could have. Mm-hmm. So I'm proud of us. We overcame that. And I'm hoping that other people, if you're going through that, I hope you overcome that. And if you're having struggle overcoming it, just sit down and have that conversation, because you'd be surprised. Like you're really telling the same story in different words. Mm-hmm. Honestly, that's what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah. And then when you hold that resentment, that it's not healthy. So, any more questions for the only child that decided to dig this little hole here, open this door?
No, I got my entertainment. I'm good. I'm satisfied.
Petty walk. This is the setup of all setups. You hear me? Petty.
It's gonna be a healing experience, and it's gonna be great. Your siblings is gonna.
Well, if you want to do it for real, get them on the show. Come on, Collette.
Say less.
Come on, Collette.
Say less. I've already done this twice. Say less.
Get everybody on the call.
Say less. Say less.
That's what the people want to see. Give the people what they want to see.
Got you.
Put them on the call. If we want a real, I'm here to make you uncomfortable moment, let's do it. Go big or go home.
All right, you got the other one over there. I'll get the other one over here. Let me know when you at that apartment. I'll let you know when I'm at this apartment.
We could do that. You set it up. I'm putting the ball in your court. You set up. You put the invites out. You say what you want to do. You make a group chat. If that's what you want to do, live your best life, sis.
All right.
You know, I'm always ready. It's awkward, whatever. But if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. I don't like telling the one-sided story. You know, this is our podcast, so yeah, I get to tell my story, but that's not fair.
Yeah,
Not fair. Let them tell their stories. That's what we're here for. Because they might have a completely different story from the one I just told you. So that would be very fascinating to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be good. Oh, jeez. Good luck to you.
That's easy. I accept that challenge.
There you go. Double dog dare you. Next.
Christmas tree and siblings. Got it.
There you go. 2 homework assignments. All right, y'all. That's enough of that. Thankfully, I'm in a good enough headspace to talk about it freely and, you know, not be stressed out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Being a sibling is very fascinating. If you have siblings, 1 or 10, let us know. Drop it in the comments. Tell us about your experience, because, you know, it's different family to family. So we want to know what y'all got to say about it. And that's that. This has been another episode of The Cuz. Thank you for watching.
Bye, guys.